Do you know what actually happens when your savings account hits that $15,000 mark? It's not just about having some extra cash in the bank. It's a massive psychological shift that literally rewires your brain and flips the script on how you view money. Why is this specific number the ultimate turning point? And why is the first $15,000 the most brutal yet most rewarding hurdle you'll ever face? Today, we're breaking down why this tipping point changes everything. Let's dive in. 1. The psychological turning point. How $15,000 changes. Have you ever wondered why the $15,000 milestone is considered the ultimate tipping point in a person's financial journey? Think back. When you only had $1,000 or $5,000 in the bank, your brain was stuck in survival mode. Money was just a temporary guest. It hit your account on payday and vanished just as fast to cover bills, rent, and the daily grind. But the moment you hit $15,000, a powerful switch flips in your brain. This isn't emergency fund money or spending cash anymore. This is the foundation of your freedom. At this milestone, you go through a total mindset revolution. You stop seeing money as just paper used to buy stuff, and you start seeing those dollars as loyal soldiers ready to go to war and work for you. But here's the fascinating paradox. Suddenly, you might feel poorer and more anxious than when you had less. Why? Because now, for the first time, you actually have something worth losing. You become hypercritical of every tiny spending habit. That fancy dinner or flashy gadget isn't just a treat anymore, it's an opportunity cost. You realize that every $100 you waste today is effectively stealing months of freedom from your future self 10 years down the road. $15,000 is when you officially upgrade your operating system. You shift from someone who just makes money to someone who owns assets. You stop looking at your bank statement week by week and start looking at life in terms of years and decades. That is the exact moment you stop being a slave to your bills and start becoming the master of your financial destiny. 2. The math of the tipping point, making your money work now. Let's talk numbers. Why is $15,000 the tipping point that millionaires are always raving about? It's because this is the exact moment compound interest finally shows its face. Think about it. If you park that $15,000 in a high-yield savings account or a solid index fund returning 5 to 7% a year, your account starts generating about $70 to $90 every single month. Sounds like small change, right? But hold on a second. That money is enough to cover your electricity, water, internet, and maybe even a few weekend coffee runs, all without you lifting a single finger. This is the first time in your life you get a real taste of financial freedom. You're no longer trading 100% of your time for every single dollar you own, but the real magic happens when you zoom out. If you let that $15,000 sit in the stock market with an average 10% annual return, in 30 years, it snowballs into over $260,000 from that initial $15,000 alone without adding another cent. The difference between having $10,000 and $15,000 isn't just a $5,000 gap today, it's a $90,000 gap by the time you retire. That's why grinding for that extra bit while you're young gives you such massive leverage later on. You're literally buying back your future at a discount. 3. The subtle traps. When the comfort zone becomes a pitfall. Once your account hits that $15,000 mark, you start feeling like you finally made it. But stay sharp. This is exactly when the financial traps become more subtle and harder to spot. They don't look like petty debt anymore. They sneak into your psyche disguised as success. The first trap is lifestyle creep in disguise. With $15,000 in the bank, you suddenly feel entitled to treat yourself after months of grinding. Your brain starts whispering, "I've worked so hard. A new car loan or a slightly flashier apartment won't hurt. I've still got a huge cushion, right?" But the truth is, if you inflate your lifestyle now, you are literally strangling the momentum you worked so hard to build. You aren't getting richer, you're just spending more. The second trap is even more dangerous. Mid-level expert syndrome. When you have a decent chunk of capital, you start getting impatient with 7 to 10% annual returns. You start eyeing high-risk gambles, moonshot crypto coins, or get-rich-quick schemes hoping to double or triple your net worth overnight. Remember, $15,000 is enough to make you feel like a pro, but it's not enough to survive a total wipeout. Plenty of people have lost a lifetime of savings trying to shortcut the road from $15,000 to $100,000. Finally, there's the comparison trap. When you had $1,000, you weren't comparing yourself to anyone. But at $15,000, you start looking up at the millionaires and feeling like a failure. Don't let that feeling deceive you. In reality, you've already joined the elite minority with the best financial discipline in society. Comparing yourself at the wrong time will kill your composure and lead to impulsive, costly mistakes. At this milestone, keeping a cool head is way more important than chasing a few extra bucks. 4. Allocation strategy. Turning dead cash into a money machine. Once you've got $15,000 in your hands and you've conquered those mental hurdles, the big question is, what do you actually do with it? Don't let that $15,000 sit idle in a zero-interest checking account. Inflation will eat your hard work alive every single day. You need a smart allocation strategy built on 3 main pillars. The first pillar is your survival shield. Take about $5,000 and park it in a high-yield savings account, HYSA. This is your do-not-touch fund for life's curveballs, like a sudden job loss or medical emergency. Why $5,000? Because it's enough to keep you afloat for 3 to 5 months. Having this cushion is exactly what gives you the financial balls to take risk with the remaining $10,000. The second pillar is cleaning up the past. If you're still carrying high-interest debt, especially credit cards or personal loans with rates above 7 or 8%, kill them immediately. There is no investment on earth that offers a more guaranteed or sustainable return than paying off debt. It's effectively an investment with a return equal to your interest rate, but with zero risk. The final and most important pillar is your future seeds. The remaining $10,000 should go into low-cost index funds or ETFs like VOO or VTI. At this stage, don't try to be a wolf of Wall Street by day trading individual stocks. Your goal right now is momentum. Let the power of the entire economy push your net worth upward. You see, $15,000 isn't just a number on a screen. When allocated correctly, it's the master key to your freedom. You're building a system where your wealth grows even while you're fast asleep. This is the moment you stop playing small and start playing the game of the wealthy. 5. The power of choice. Touching real freedom. Ultimately, the greatest gift that the $15,000 milestone gives you isn't just the numbers moving in your app. It's the power to say no. In the finance world, we call this the starter version of FU money. Think about it. When you have that $15,000 cushion, your entire posture toward life shifts. You can say no to a toxic boss. You can say no to soul-crushing overtime. You can say no to sketchy, high-risk investments driven by pure greed. You're no longer living on a knife's edge, terrified that one missed paycheck will send your entire world collapsing. Those $15,000 are the buffer that allows you to live with dignity and composure. But remember, $15,000 is just the starting line, not the finish line. You've just cleared the steepest part of the mountain. From here on out, the road to $50,000 or $100,000 gets a lot smoother. Why? Because you're no longer grinding alone. You've got the power of compound interest and a rock-solid financial system riding shotgun with you. Here is my final piece of advice for you. Don't stop. Do not let the temporary comfort of this milestone make you lose sight of the big picture. Stay disciplined, keep investing in yourself, and stick to the blueprint you've created. Financial freedom isn't reserved for the lucky. It belongs to the relentless. So are you ready to turn these $15,000 into the first brick of your own personal empire? Start today, beginning with the smallest shifts in your spending habits. Your future self is waiting, and it all starts with the decision you make right now.